This is the fragrance guide. Today I'm going to talk about this as Berdoues. This is called Oud Al Sahraa. Stay tuned for this review. For me, I was going through the entire Berdoues line, and there's about 8 fragrances on the line. It's actually pretty inexpensive. It's 100 milliliters, $85 US at almost all retailers in the United States. I think the week before I got it, it was around $75, so it's gone up $10. But I think that was really, that particular retailer was not caught up to date with other retailers. Anyways, it's really that suggested retail price point that you're going to find in most fragrance categories. And so for me, I actually smelled the entire line, and I learned some lessons, and something I'd like to save you from, which is when you're smelling a lot of fragrances, sometimes in the moment it was a fragrance event, so sometimes you feel, how do I put it, obligated to buy. You shouldn't feel that way. First of all, that's the number one rule. And not that I necessarily felt that way, but I thought in the excitement of the moment, I wanted to get a fragrance. And I thought this was the most distinctive of the Berdoues line. Really nice fragrance. So when I saw the word oud, I'm really attracted to oud. Oud is this really amazing characteristic wood from the agar wood, and something that really has this pungent and pleasantly so. So oud often has this really amazing characterization of, I would say, moist earth. I would even say leather, as well as a bit of really dense wood characteristics, rare wood characteristics. In addition to that, some of the truffle characteristics, that means from the mushroom family. And all this comes up into one really distinctive burst of exquisite characteristic scent. So on this, I think it's a really interesting lineup in terms of this was the most distinctive. Now over time, I look at my entire oud categories that I own, and I'm thinking, to me, this is not the oud that I wanted it to be, and that's a comparison. So you might find top of the line of a particular line such as this, and then when you compare this against other ouds you might have, or other categories, maybe it's more of a citrus characterization, and line that up with other citrus characterizations, what will that be in terms of what do you prefer? And ultimately I found that this is not the one I reach towards most of the time. And I think that's really interesting because I do reach for my other ouds, and I'll review those as well. This is oud from Malaysia, the myrrh is coming from Namibia, and the citrus is coming from Italy. It is coming probably from Sicily. So when you put these materials together, it depends on the master perfumer. How are they creating this? How is this going to characterize in the bottle over time? And more importantly, how is it going to smell on you? So I'm going to put more on. I did put a bit on earlier today, but I like to get that refreshing characterization so that I can give that notation here. And I think it's a really nice way of experiencing fragrance. Fragrance to me is, it's not just a luxury. I think a lot of people view fragrance as a luxury. It's one time a week, maybe. And that's how I look at wine. I don't want just one glass every other day or so. But I think that's the beauty of fragrance, is to really experience it, and that's the point of it. And some people think it's trying to mask scent, because if you're quote unquote masking, that means it's really trying to cover up a bad smell for a good smell, and guess what always wins? The bad smell. I think it's really to accentuate one's chemistry. And so for me, this does not have the things that, so the point score on this is 88 points, and that's out of a 100-point range. So you can think of that as like a 100 points on a grading curve. It's a B plus in my opinion, and it's something that I don't lean towards. So on this, I think it's really, I'm getting sandalwood most of the time than oud, and I think that's a characterization. It's really, I think that there's so perhaps not as much oud in here as I would like it to have. I think it's something that's really not floating to the top that I'd like it to come towards. Maybe it's even being expressing in terms of the myrrh that's on here. I do get the myrrh. I get Sicilian green citrus as well. A bit of powder notes, wet stones, or wet granite as I like to term this. So it gets that beautiful mineral characterization. So I do get a bit of musk on this, and though I do not believe there's any musk material in here, it really does float to that experience point. So again, this is a 88-point fragrance out of a 100-point scale. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more fragrance reviews to come. Sante.